Hello, welcome back to Oh My Bookishness. You're probably wondering why I look like a business casual flower girl or a 1970s hobbit. If you read the title of this video and you know what cottagecore is, then that's your answer. If you don't know what cottagecore is, well, let me do my very best to explain it. Or you can Google it. You have the internet, clearly. So feel free to Google it. Otherwise, I can explain it to you as well. Basically, cottagecore is like, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It is a style of clothing, of living, based off of cottages and farms and cabins and all things cozy. Floral prints are very big. And floral crowns, and strawberries and mushrooms are also popular motifs with cottagecore. Basically, it's like if Studio Ghibli and Jane Austen and Peter Rabbit and the Hobbits all kind of swooshed together into one thing. So you can understand why I like it. Basically, you know, cottagecore, it involves florals and baking and knitting and sewing and gardening, foraging, you know, fairies sometimes, goblins sometimes. There's like offshoots of cottagecore called like goblincore and fairycore. But it's like whatever hobby makes you feel cozy. Picnics, reading by a babbling brook, whatever you want to go with. So if you're paying attention to the title of the video, then you will also know that I'm going to give you some cottagecore book recommendations today, or at least what I think of as cottagecore. You might think of it as something else. There's not really a right answer or a wrong answer, but here are I'm going to do some book recommendations of what I think is cottagecore-esque. But before that, as usual, I will tell you a little bit about what I'm currently reading. So, surprising no one, what I'm currently reading is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second in the Six of Crows duology, and the fifth book in the Grishaverse. The show came out, it was amazing! It was very good. Definitely rated TV mature for a reason. Seeing the cut in action was something else. And then after I read that, I'm going to take a break before reading King of Scars, and I'm going to read the Book of Pearl from my book club that I have with my coworkers. Okay, so with that out of the way, as I am putting things out of the way, let's get into the cottagecore books. And I want to start with nonfiction category, because there's a lot that you could kind of finagle into the cottagecore aesthetic that's nonfiction. One of those things is knitting, and this is the book that I learned to knit with. It came with like a knitting set, so I don't know if you can even actually find it anywheres, but this is the book that taught me how to knit. You're probably thinking, Corey, didn't you learn to knit from one of your grandmas who are both amazing knitters? Well, they tried, and I was not a very good student, but the book helped. And then also, I have this one, which I have not read yet, but Fairy Houses. That's more fairycore, I kind of guess, but whatever. This just kind of gives you some tips and tricks for making neat, like, fairy furniture. I don't know, it sounds fun to me. And then also, I went with a couple of different gardening books from the library. The one I am most excited about is How to Attract Birds to the Garden. I don't have a garden, but I have a deck, and I have a bird feeder on the deck, and it's very fun to see the birds and the squirrels and whatever else gets up there. And this kind of gives you different like plants and things that they like, and it gives you like a guide to some birds that you might see. So I'm very excited to read through this one. And then I also picked up from the library Betty Crocker's Kitchen Gardens and Gardening in Small Spaces, because I don't know if I'll be able to do any sort of gardening on my deck, but we'll see. So then I have a couple of like older reader books here that they give me all the cottagecore feelings. So, you know, we'll start off with The Secret Garden. I was kind of hesitant to put any classics in this video just because I feel like, you know, all the Jane Austen is seen as cottagecore kind of stuff. Anna Green Gables, Little House on the Prairie, Louisa May Alcott with the Little Women. You know, there's a lot of like classics that could fall under cottagecore, but my favorite of those is The Secret Garden, so I wanted to include that. And it's just, you know, there's like a garden, there's friendship, you know, it's very cottagecore feelings. And then of course, we couldn't do a cottagecore video without mention of Howl's Moving Castle. I probably mention this in like every single video that I do. Sorry, not sorry. This one's got some excellent cottagecore vibes with Sophie, you know, she does like sewing, she makes hats. There's just kind of, you know, taking life slow, a little bit cozy kind of story going on, which I feel like is more true of the movie than the book. And all Studio Ghibli movies, I feel like kind of have that a little bit laid back. The music is like peak cottagecore music. There's always food, there's always like flowers and beautiful landscapes. So, you know, Howl's Moving Castle, the book has some of that as well, but the movie's really where it's at. And then I also have the Boxcar Children, which is, I just reread it for the first time since like I read it as a child, and it's definitely a lot younger, written for younger people than I remembered it being. When I was a kid, I had all of these like imaginings filled into the story, and reading it now, the details are pretty sparse, but I still feel like it's a good kind of, this was probably my first experience with like cottagecore, but like look at that, you know, they go around, they find some dishes, it's kind of like thrifting, but they find them in a dump, and they just make this boxcar their little home. And it always seemed like such a fun thing to me to live in a boxcar and to kind of scavenge items for your home. Probably why I like thrift store shopping so much is because it kind of feels like that. I love, you know, thrift store shopping and garage sales and picking up junk off the side of the road. Yeah, so I probably got that from Boxcar Children, an excellent beginner's cottagecore. Okay. So now I was thinking it'd be kind of fun because there are so many of these in the world. I know because I work in libraries, but there are so many picture books that are just like oozing with cozy cottagecore garden magic vibes. I'm probably using the word vibes too much. Forgive me. But I thought I would show you some of my favorite ones that I have come across at the libraries. Starting off with this series, which is Poppy and Sam. They're kind of like graphic novels, but for really young readers. And basically, also look at the end pages, very cute. Basically, it's about a little girl named Poppy and a little bear, I think he's a bear, named Sam, and they live in a garden. And even better, maybe this one doesn't have it. Okay, I think it's in the other one. Here we go. Even better, they live in little gourds. Isn't that so cute? These are definitely for like younger readers. They could probably even just be picture books. We shelve them under graphic novels. But they're definitely like little kid stories. But that doesn't mean grown-ups can't enjoy them too. They're just so cute and enjoyable. And I highly recommend them if you're just needing like a short, fun little thing to read. We have Poppy and Sam and the Leaf Thief, Poppy and Sam and the Mole Mystery, and Poppy and Sam and the Search for Sleep. Highly recommend Poppy and Sam. So the next one that I have is another picture book called Magnificent Homespun Brown. And this one, I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was supposed to be like cottagecore vibes, but reading through it, I just like, look at, they're making honey. It's so cute. This one's more of an autumnal, like late summer kind of thing. She is jumping into a leaf pile, and I don't know, like, look how cozy that looks. That's definitely more winter, and it's spring right now, so this one might not be top pick for this time of year, but I don't know, it's just, I read through it when I was processing it at the library, like putting the stickers and jacket on it and everything, and I'm like, this is cottagecore, regardless of if they were trying for it to be cottagecore or not. Next one that I have here is Little Fox in the Forest. Look at the little fox guy. This one does not have any words, so you don't even need to know how to read to enjoy this one. Let me find the good picture here. Here we go. Look at that little town in the magical woods. So cottagecore. Amazing. It's just, I just find it very cute. I'm not even 100% sure what the story is. I kind of know, but like there's no words. I mostly just like to look at the pictures and spoilers for the ending. Look at the little fox in his little house. He's so cute. And then we're going with Fern and Otto, a story about two best friends. And this one is a pretty new one. Basically, it is about this bear named Fern and this cat named Otto. I think he's a cat. And they live in a tree house together, and then they're writing a book. And since they don't know a ton to write about, they decide to go on a walk in the woods and see if they can find anything exciting to write about. And they may or may not pass by a few exciting things, but you know, Otto doesn't seem to think that they are worthy of his story. You know, there's a lot going on in the woods, but Otto's like, no, we just gotta find the perfect thing to write a story about. But I just like the aesthetic of this book. Just look how cute. She's got a sweater. It's very cute. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, we have A Mouse Called Julian. And this one is about a mouse called Julian who lives in this adorable burrow, and he likes being alone. He just really doesn't like other people. He's socially distancing. But you know, he's got some neighbors and they're kind of annoying, but he ignores them. He likes to be alone. And then one day, somebody takes notice of him. Dun dun dun. I won't spoil it for you because it's very cute. But, you know, this one's got like cozy home, delicious looking food, friendship, drama. It's all in there. Very good one. A Mouse Called Julian. Okay, so those were my some of my cottagecore book recommendations. Whatever you feel like is cottagecore, I think could be considered cottagecore. I mean, maybe not like a sci-fi one, unless it's like a planet like Naboo, maybe, kind of, from Star Wars, where things are a little bit more relaxed. But, you know, it's just whatever you feel like is good and cozy and wholesome could probably pass for cottagecore. That being said, I do have a few more like recommendations that give off more traditional cottagecore vibes, but I have, especially picture books, I have a lot more that I could recommend to you. If you would be interested in that, let me know. We could do a part 2 of this perhaps. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. So let me know if you'd like to see more cottagecore book recommendations. If you have some cottagecore book recommendations, I would love to hear them in the comments. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I certainly did. I love to get a little bit dressed up in my flower crown finery. So yeah, don't know how to end a video. Bye.